right. Well, I guess we might as well get on to our very last one shot here. F. Ken from our favorite person, Yusei Matsui.
Yeah. Matsui.
Oh boy. So let's just get into what the one shot's about. So I see. I'm afraid to like describe it because like if you're not already familiar with Yusei Matsui and his works, just in case you. Well, I guess I should also say, like, just in case anybody doesn't know, Yusei Matsui is responsible for such jump classics as Majin Tante no Gami Nero and Assassination Classroom. I'm sure a lot more people are familiar with Assassination Classroom because that actually got licensed. But yeah, I mean, if you're familiar at all with Matsui's, I guess, any of his manga or his writing, like, I don't want to say you know what to expect. It's weird. So I should just talk about the one shot. So F. Ken is basically about this kendo team who, you know, they're not the best, but they try. You know, they're trying to make their way to nationals and whatnot. But one day this girl just kind of comes in and is like, "Hey, I want to be your manager," and they're just like, "Okay, whatever." And then from there she uses her, I don't know what you would call it.
So, I mean, she's kind of like, she's basically a hottie, and she comes in and she uses her feminine wiles, so to speak, in very specific ways to motivate these guys to win. Because, I mean, up until she shows up, they're just kind of there they're doing kendo because it's fun and they're buddies and they're, you know, but they kind of suck, let's be honest. So, I mean, but they're okay with sucking. But then she shows up and she's like, "Hey, I can help you improve your game." And, you know, she does. But and I know what Colton's dancing around trying to say, because it's like, if you're straight, I guess that we're just going to have to rip off the debate at some point and just say it. But she basically motivates these guys by appealing to their fetishes. So, and the F in F-Ken is fetish.
If anybody listening to this has read Assassination Classroom, like she literally does the thing that Principal Asano did with his students, where he's like, "Hey, come into my office," and he just basically does the Jedi mind trick for like 3 minutes, and like pulls all the like killing intent out of them or whatever. That's basically what she does with the Kendo Club.
Yeah, she's kind of a combination of Asano and Irina. You know, she's kind of, she uses her feminine wiles to, like, bring the killing intent out of them like Asano would, but she does it in a very bitch sensei way. Very so.
Now, I will give Matsui this. It's actually kind of clever, like, how she uses their fetishes to, like, help them win their matches, because, like, they like, all the club members have, like, fetishes that correspond to a specific body part that, like, you basically hit in a kendo match to, like, get a point. So I think, like, one guy has, like, a fetish for, like, wrist or whatever. Another has, like, a fetish for, like, waistlines. Another has, like, a fetish for hair. And that basically all, like I said, corresponds to a point that you can hit in a match to get a point, which I'll give him this. That is actually kind of clever. And it, like, you know, with this kind of stuff in, like, anime and manga, like, you know, this kind of, like, lewd content, I should say, is usually shoehorned in, but, like, I think Matsui actually, like, through our main character, I guess, do we ever get a name for this girl? I don't know if she has a name.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it was mentioned, but I actually don't think she has a name. Her name's mentioned.
Well, anyway, like, I feel like through this character, like, he actually incorporates Matsui is so, I don't really know what to say. I don't know how to put it in words, but, like, this is kind of why I love him, because he's able to, like, come up with these weird ass premises that, like, you don't think would work, but they do.
And they work on a level where it's like, I mean, yeah, they're these weird premises, and they sound completely like, I don't know a way to put it. Like, if I told you the premise of this story, you would think it's automatically something really lewd and fan service laden, but there's actually really none of that. Just like Assassination Classroom, if you just you could straight up describe it as students trying to kill their alien teacher. And you wouldn't be wrong. And it sounds like one kind of story, but then when you actually read it, it can actually get pretty heartfelt, pretty emotional, and it's pretty damn hilarious sometimes too. And like, I think F-Ken kind of falls in that tradition of just being like, it's this premise that sounds completely like, this is bad. I can't possibly, just like the way we were dancing around about it first of how to talk about this, that's Matsui in a nutshell.
Well, I think part of the reason I was kind of dancing around it was because, like, I was also wondering, like, well, can we really talk about this one shot without basically giving the twist away? Because, like, when this was announced in the previous issue of Jump, like, you know, it was basically advertised as like a rom-com. But, like, and I think this is part of the reason why, like, and I'm just gonna say, like, I enjoyed the one shot. I had no problems with it. I actually really enjoyed it, but, like, I didn't, like, love it. And I think it's because, like, we're both very familiar with Matsui and how he rolls, and like I kind of knew that, like, it wasn't, like, this wasn't just gonna be a simple, like, rom-com. Like, there was gonna be some weird, diabolical, weird twist to it that,
exactly.
Like, I was totally expecting. Like, I don't think I've told you this yet, but, like, when I saw the title of the one-shot, F. Ken, I honestly thought it was just his way of writing the word "fucking" without the U in the middle. so I just kind of assumed, like, there was going to be something, like, weird and dirty involved. But, like, again, like, you know, you expect this thing to be like really weird and uncomfortable. But, like, and I don't know. I guess your mileage may vary, because I've seen. I saw people on my timeline who weren't really super into it because of its subject matter, and I guess I can kind of understand that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a couple people that weren't too enthusiastic about it either, and honestly speaking, I could see that. I mean, not even from the level of the fact that it's about fetishes. I didn't see anybody really put off by that. Just in general, that it wasn't. If you know Matsui, I agree with Colton, where it's like, if you know Matsui, it's kind of like, that gives away the whole one shot almost. Like, without even reading it, like, if you don't know Matsui at all, you probably would get much more mileage out of this, good or bad, than if you know him. Cause once you know him, cause me too, when I saw it advertised in Jump, I was already expecting, not the worst, but I was expecting a Matsui work. So,
we both knew what to expect.
Yeah, so, and I feel like when you have that, it already kind of takes some of the edge off the one shot than if you had no idea who he is. So I actually am a little jealous of people who've never read a Matsui thing, because they probably would have enjoyed this way more than we did. Not to say that we didn't like it.
It's not that we didn't like it, it's just, it wasn't as much of a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on its merits, it's actually a pretty clever, as you said, a pretty clever one-shot. And the pacing was really good, too. Like, it didn't feel as if, I mean, just like we were referencing our Magic versus Science, where it felt like the pacing was kind of not that great. I do feel like this one was, and granted, to be fair, that was a rookie writing it. So,
yeah,
compared to, Matsui, who's been around for a while and has done a couple of one-shots, I mean, two of which I translated, actually.
And has 2 series under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 one-shots I translated, and he's done even more than those 2 one-shots, even. But either way, Matsui's kind of experienced, so he has a better idea of how pacing works. But even, I feel like, experienced manga artists that come from a series and then do a one-shot, some of those can be hit or miss too. But I feel like F-Ken really came in and it knew what it wanted to do. And I was talking when I mentioned to Colton off mic that, it feels like an Assassination Classroom in the sense that it came in and knew what it wanted to do, it did it, and then it finished.
Yeah, like, it told a complete story, and that was it. Like, I think that's the best we can ask from any one shot.
Yeah, exactly. And the story is pretty solid. I did like, I mean, and it's Matsui's sense of humor, and, I mean, again, your mileage may vary on whether you like that or not, but I think it worked on several levels.
I do wonder how people who have only read Assassination Classroom feel who have read this one shot, because like I remember you telling me off mic that like that this one shot was going to feel very much akin to like a chapter of Nero almost, where like comparing the two series as we've done on the podcast before, like Nero compared to Assassination Classroom is like, while they're both very Matsui works, one is definitely a lot more unhinged than the other. Like Nero was not afraid to get dark or nasty, and this one shot is kind of in that same vein. Whereas like Assassination Classroom, it had its moments for sure, but like
I hate to say it was tamer. I
think comparatively it was, but like yeah.
I mean, again, as you said, they were both very much Matsui, but definitely Assassination Classroom. I mean, to make a kind of crude reference, Assassination Classroom is the series you'd bring home to your parents. Well, Nero's the one you'd meet in the seedy hotel.
I mean, you know what? It fits.
That's the comparison I do it. If you were to date these two series, Nero's the one you do one-off things in a hotel and, you know, not talk to anybody else about it. Well, Assassination Classroom you might bring to meet your friends and family. So, and F-Ken definitely, at least after I read it in Japanese first, it definitely feels, I mean, now, I know I said that to you off mic, but now I feel like it is it is a little closer to being in the middle of the two of them.
You think so?
Yeah, I changed my mind a bit. I know originally I said it's closer to Nero, but I feel like it might be just the school setting, honestly, that makes me feel that way.
I could see that. Like, I think if Matsui did another series, I think I would want something more in the middle between Assassination Classroom and Nero.
Yeah, I think this one's kind of in the middle. I mean, the subject matter feels closer to Nero, but the setting and how it's executed feels closer to Assassination Classroom.
I want a series from Matsui that can be as unhinged as Nero, but like have the level of heart and emotion and emotional stakes that Assassination Classroom did.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. I do. And that's not to say that Nero couldn't, but because I feel like because it was so unhinged, it kind of got hard for Matsui to kind of come back from unhinged to an emotional, you know, more emotional stakes. So, yeah, I definitely, and I agree with you. If Matsui is to do another serial, I would want something like, maybe, I mean, not just like F-Ken, but in the same tone as F-Ken. Like, because now I'm flipping through it now, and I definitely feel like it's more closer to the middle than it is being any of his two serials.
Yeah, I would say so too. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's much else to really say about this one shot other than that. I mean, like, I don't know if I would recommend this to people though, because I feel like I feel like this is the kind of Matsui weird that like. That might be a little too weird for people, maybe? I don't know.
It's kind of a weird thing where it's like, normally when you were recommending an artist, you would tell people to start off with their first series and then work your way to their... But I actually feel like, honestly, you know, besides the fact that obviously Assassination Classroom was licensed and therefore easier to get to legally, I would actually tell most people to probably read Assassination Classroom first if you wanted to get into the Matsui cinematic universe. So,
God, I don't want what I wouldn't give for the Matsui cinematic universe.
I mean, we're kind of there with all of his one shots in his two series. I mean, and it's still MCU. You could use that interchangeably.
I don't want us to come off like, well, if you haven't read this 21 plus series or whatever, you might not like this one shot. I'm mostly saying that if you read this one shot and for any reason you're turned off by it, that's totally cool, but I would say don't let it turn you off to Matsui's other works, I guess is what I want to put out there.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe, hey, if you did like this one shot,
then you'll love Nero.
You'll love it, and that's what I was just about to say. Maybe get on Viz to get Nero.
I mean, yeah.
In this age of digital-only releases, there's really no excuse now.
Like, honestly, I think if I think if Nero was licensed back in the day and had the right like push behind it, I think it actually could have done pretty well. But I mean, who's to really say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about it. I think in general, I'm gonna take it back. I think in general, like I think the one shot is good and I enjoyed it. And I would still recommend it to people, especially people who are looking for more of Matsui's work. Like I said, if you're turned off by it at all, go read his other stuff. I guarantee you will like his other stuff way more if this one shot didn't do it for you. And I guess with all that out of the way, like I've been saying, we will have links in the show notes for basically all the one shots we talked about on this episode. They should all be free on shonenjump.viz.com or shonenjump.com. I forget the actual URL. It's one of those two. The links will be in the show notes, so you can just follow those. They're free, so go check them out.